Hello. Welcome to the Center for Safe and Healthy Schools. My name is Annette Anderson, and today we have with us Dr. Lieny Jeon, who is an assistant professor of education here in the School of Education. Dr. Jeon also serves as the director of research for the Ideals Institute. So we want to say welcome, Dr. Jeon.
Thank you.
Today, we'd like to discuss a topic that has growing concerns across the country as the coronavirus continues to be an issue for students in schools. We want to talk about discrimination and bullying that is happening in our schools. Dr. Jeon, is this a growing problem for our schools?
Yeah, I definitely think that is a growing concern. And on the news, we hear a lot of news about concerns around racism, discrimination happening at the school setting. So it is a concern, and students are getting stressed about this situation, and I believe that teachers are getting stressed about this situation as well.
So what's happening? Why are these cases of discrimination and bullying happening for students, and who is it affecting in schools?
So I think simple answer in terms of why it's happening is that the coronavirus began in China.
Yes.
That's the fact, right?
That is a
but
fact.
that doesn't mean that Asian people are more likely to be infected by coronavirus, right? We have a lot of people infected by coronavirus in China or South Korea or Japan, but that doesn't mean that Asian people are more likely to get coronavirus. So I think that's the fact that started in Asia countries, but that's not about people, right? They're not bringing virus into the school settings, right? Or into their home environment or neighborhood, right? So I think at this point, we should really understand what's going on.
Yes.
And then students need to have clear ideas that this is not the fault of Asian people.
Right, and that sounds like a stereotype bias against a race of people simply because of their race, which would be discriminatory, correct? Yeah, so what's happening to create stress among some of our Asian students in schools? Are they feeling that they're being pulled out or picked on because of just their race or their connection to their background? And what's happening for them? What's their experience been that's been stressful for them?
I think they're sometimes bullied by their peers who are different race. And also, like even for me, sometimes when I go to restaurant or when I go to shopping mall, I feel a little bit awkward when people looking at me because I'm the Asian person, and I just try not to cough whenever I cough comes out. So I can feel that students can have the same feeling when they're in schools if their peers react to them or if their peers make fun of them, then they can definitely feel anxious and stressed about this issue. And I think at this point, wearing a mask is becoming a symbol of Asian people.
And then, I've noticed a little bit of that
and symbol of
lately.
virus as well.
Yes.
And then I've been hearing that if you wear a mask, then you can be quickly bullied in school settings. But I think at the school level, we should build empathy toward Asian people as well, because they're experiencing a lot of stress because they might have family in Asian countries having a lot of affected. So it's the issue of building social emotional learning for students in school settings, right? We have to make sure that students all understand what's going on with these families and these peers, and they should understand that it is not their fault. And especially for wearing masks, a lot of Asian people wear the mask to prevent the virus. They believe that it prevents the virus. And sometimes it's a way to respect other people as well, because you never know whether you have coronavirus or not. So by wearing masks, you want to be proactive in terms of preventing spreading your virus to other people. But I don't think students really understand that, right? The context of Asian people's behavior reacting to coronavirus. So I think we have to make sure that this kind of like understanding and consensus are in among students.
So should school districts be sending out their policies about discrimination and bias to all students to remind them of expectations at this time?
Yeah, I believe so. Because we're hearing a lot of news like happening at school, I think it's very important for schools to build discipline policy around discrimination, and they have to build no tolerance policy around this discrimination, and also they have to educate students and parents to make sure that students all understand that this is not the fault of Asian students.
Absolutely. And what can classroom teachers do to ensure that students are empathic to one another so that everyone is showing just equal care and concern?
Yeah, of course. So I think having an open conversation with students would be very important. So they can have conversation in terms of what they really feel towards Asian students, and then maybe Asian students can react to that. Like they all discuss why they're feeling that way and why they're feeling stressed. And so I think having open discussion to understand each other would be helpful. And then teachers can, of course, help students build empathy towards those students and understand how they might feel stressed and how they might feel anxious about this discrimination as well. So that kind of conversation between students and between teachers would be very important.
Great. Well, is there anything else that you would say to those students who are feeling that they've been victimized and blamed for coronavirus, even though we know that those students are not the cause? And it's unfortunate that some of our students are feeling bullied right now. What would you say to the students right now?
I want to make sure that students understand that it's not their fault. They might experience bullying, they might experience anxiety, but it's not their fault, and it's not coronavirus, it's not just for them, right? Yes. So I want to make sure that this is an incident they're experiencing at this point, but they should know that it's not stemming from their origin or their race. It is just phenomena that we are experiencing. So they should understand that it's not their fault and don't feel bad about it.
And if students are feeling bullied or discriminated against, where should they go for support?
I think there should be a way in the school setting, like school psychologists or teachers who can refer to appropriate people to get some counseling service. And another thing is that, especially for younger students, I think parents should be very open to discussing with students so they feel like okay going to parents and talk about this issue. Then parents may talk with teachers in terms of how to deal with this. So I think for students, it's important for them to have multiple resources available. Teachers, school leadership, school psychologists, parents, so they have a lot of resources available to find when they experience any bullying or discrimination.
Well, thank you, Dr. Jeon. We really appreciate you joining us today. And I'd like to thank you, our viewers, at the Center for Safe and Healthy Schools. I'm Annette Anderson, and we thank you for joining us. Have a great day.